welcome back to another episode of the Caffeinated Librarians. Today we have a practically full roster, but we are missing one of our own. I believe that is Joe, but you will see his work when the episode comes out, so without further ado...
this man.
Joe will be joining us again.
Boo, Joe.
Probably for the next episode, I would imagine.
He better.
He'll definitely be here for the soundtrack one. I think he really wanted to be here for that one.
Yeah, so that should be exciting. So without further ado, our not announcements, but introductions. I'll go that way.
Hi everyone, I'm Katie.
Hey, it's Ben.
Simona.
I'm Lewis.
Enthusiasm. I enjoy it. So for today's episode, we're going to be talking about the very highly rated Arcane, which came out.
I actually watched it.
You actually watched
the whole thing?
It was good.
All 9 episodes. It was good. I enjoyed it.
For full disclosure, I only saw the first episode, but before this, I watched a YouTube video from explaining what was going on for episodes 1 and 9, so I can contribute to the conversation.
Yes,
for sure.
Yes. So it did drop on Netflix. It got a lot of talk, a lot of press, because honestly, for a video game based TV show, and especially an animated one at that, what did you all think? I absolutely loved it.
I really, and I don't say this a lot, I've never seen anything like it. If it wasn't for Into the Spider-Verse a few years ago, I feel like this would have been a revolution in animation. I was just stunned. It looked like there's this video game that came out like 20 years ago called Jet Set Radio.
Yes.
Jet Grind Radio, and it was like this polygon-covered, cel-shaded style that was just like way ahead of its time. And I feel like it looked like the absolute apex of that kind of animation. And is the microphone okay? Okay. I was just stunned. And that's not even getting into like the characters and all the storyline. Just as a visual production, I was just struck.
Well, it's funny you talk about Spider-Man because this, so they announced doing this 6 years ago. Mm-hmm. This has been a project 6 years in the making, and I felt it was very well worth it. Worth the wait. Sorry, can't speak today.
Not a good sign for a podcast.
Yeah.
Look here. I got a lot to say about Arcane. Arcane was a marvel to behold. But before I go into any of that, I'd like to hear everybody else's opinions about it.
Yep.
And what they thought.
So one thing I think all of us who saw Game of Thrones and loved about Game of Thrones because it destroyed us was Season 3, Episode 9. It was the Red Wedding.
Good episode.
And it built up to this moment of like just absolute devastation. And Arcane managed to do that in 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Which is just really good storytelling and really good character work, and everything about it was just like, it was just perfectly like paced, and there's not a wasted line for any
Every character was very well utilized.
Every character. Like, that is not easy to do. You almost need a character that's a throwaway character, and they refused to do it. Every character mattered. Even
when they were dead, they mattered.
Yeah.
So, I'm not gonna lie, I think my favorite character was Silco, the bad guy of the whole thing.
Wasn't even really bad, though.
Exactly. That's what I loved about him, is that, he started off kind of being the bad guy until, it came to, he killed his best friend, and he took in Jinx. And I thought it was at that moment, I literally was like, oh, I already know I'm going to love this show, because as soon as he took her in, the way he looked at her, all the expressions, everything, the movement, the expressions, everything was so well thought out and well choreographed. And it was one of those things where I was like, oh, my heart. He took her in, but is he going to just use her, or does he actually care? And it seemed like he actually cared.
He
and I was just like,
actually cared.
I was like, oh.
100%.
And the eyeball thing was cool too. I have a thing for that.
Yeah.
I like the bartender dad.
Yo, he was so great.
What a great character.
Yeah.
And they're just, talk about I'm going to talk too much. I watched the Witcher episode, and I felt like Geralt from the books, I wasn't shutting the hell up. So
no, you're good. You're good.
Anyway, yes. 10/10.
I mean, I have probably a discerning opinion. I'm on the fence about it. I find it just to be okay. If I was gonna, it's something that I wouldn't watch on my own. And it could just be because and quite honestly, you don't need to know that much about the League of Legends.
You really
the
don't.
show that the game that this show
I don't know
is
anything
based
about
off
League
of.
of Legends.
And I don't either. And I watched the first episode and I was like, oh, I'm not that interested in it. And it's just something that I don't really.
We got a hot take.
Two
coming.
things. I like the mask.
Thank you.
And yes, after episode 1, it was the first time I was almost going to text Paul and be like, can I, does this count as work? Because I'm not really thinking I'm going to love watching this.
Yeah.
If every time we watch something,
but I
it
didn't.
counted as work.
I don't know. I never. Are you supposed
And
to?
I mean, granted,
But-
I should have probably given it another shot, but there was other things that I was much more interested in watching, and it kind of just.
But what I'm saying is,
You got to power through like the first episode, and then the second episode really picks up because that's where everything starts.
you're
is the
right
second episode.
to have that opinion by the end of episode 1 because
Yeah.
I was just like, all right, I'll keep going because it's my job.
Right.
But it's you're right,
Yeah.
and it does take another episode to really kick in.
Right.
Because that's, as I said, everything goes to hell
Right.
in the second episode, and that's when the story really begins. Because you think it's just going to be about a bunch of teenagers who just cause trouble in the Undercity and everything like that. And that's
Which is
kind of how
called the
I felt
Lanes.
about it. Huh?
The Undercity is called the Lanes.
The Lanes, and it's one of those things where you think, as I said, it's going to be like a little mini Robin Hood kind of thing until you realize there's more to the politics. And they do such a good job with the pacing because there's the lanes and then you have the city above.
Pontevera.
And then you have the whole politics between both and how they feel about each other. So you're getting the gritty view. Kind of like it's kind of like, I'm not gonna lie, it's been done so many times where it's like the people below hate the people above, and the people above don't really want anything to do with the people below, and they would rather just ignore the problem or just stomp it out entirely, like they're not people.
Right.
And they took it and it did so much more than that.
That moment when we arrived to the lanes was like goosebumps with the way it was animated and the music, and it was just, there's so many moments like that where you just it just shoots goosebumps into you for 45 seconds straight and you're just in awe.
Yeah. I will say I think the music really added quite a bit to
It's so
it.
good.
The music was outstanding through it, with the exception of the opening song. Couldn't stand it.
You are a
Imagine Dragons.
butthead because
I
did
do
you know
not
that
like Imagine
there's
Dragons.
two versions of the opening? There's the song that you know from the opening, which I think is the better version because of the orchestral feel to the whole thing. The graphics with what they did when they remixed the song for the opening, I thought was phenomenal. I heard the original version of the song. I wasn't as much of a fan.
trash.
I was like, this is okay. But then I went back and I was like, oh, so they have the version that was in Arcane, and I was like, this one sounds so much better. It has a better build on it and everything.
And when they actually show up in the show, you're like, come on.
I thought
Yeah,
that was so
too
great.
much. That was too much. Yeah.
Considering that League of Legends, so for viewers who don't know League of Legends is a online game that you can play with your friends. It's actually considered one of the biggest esports as well, meaning people can actually go to tournaments and make a lot of money in it. Every year they come out with a music video for the tournaments and stuff like that, which they always get a new animator, and I think Imagine Dragons has done 3, which is kind of crazy, but they have good beats.
So they're pretty good when it comes to movie and TV shows.
It's not only that.
I guess
So
so.
League of Legends has such a large budget and has got so much money that they created 2 bands. They're gonna go do a third one. They created a K-pop band called K-Da, which put together 3 Korean singers and I think 1 U.S. singer, Madison Beer. Who was in it?
What that was for?
K-Da. K-Da was created and
I
they
like
came
Madison
out.
Beer. She seems smart.
She's in a bunch of them. I don't know a lot of the singers. I know a couple of them and what bands they're in, but at the same time, I'm off the top of my head, not really. They created K-Da, and then the character that's actually in Arcane, Echo, who comes in much later, is in another music video done by League of Legends, which they use it to promote skins in the game, which are like costumes for your characters. They look different. That's how they promote all their skins, is music videos. You can look them up on YouTube. The songs are actually super great. The one he's in is called Giants. I actually very much enjoy it. K-Daw has done a lot of stuff. They have a full album out, which is crazy. And they've got 2 music videos out. They've actually performed live as their 3D compatriots during the League of Legends concert, during the tournaments, stuff like that. So League of Legends moved from not only creating bands, which they're doing another one, they're creating another band for their smaller characters in the game, which is a cute little emo band.
But unlike Imagine Dragons, I doubt they're gonna make me a believer.
Probably not.
Nice.
But will it make you spend your money? Probably. So the fact that they went into an animated show that was... It was almost like a surprise, and I honestly like the animation in the show a lot better than I do the video game, because I love cell shading.
I never played the game. I have no idea what
So if you actually do side by side...
giant metal fists, though.
Right?
Yeah.
Aren't those like amazing?
Like the God of War when you beat Hercules fists that you get, yeah.
Hulk smash.
Yes.
So if anything, League of Legends is a game that started in 2009, and it is probably still just as popular as when it came out, if not even more so. So I'll end that little blurb on League of Legends entirely. But what was cool about Arcane was that you could watch Arcane and still not know anything about League of Legends, because every character comes from a different, kind of like universe or a different place, if I'm not mistaken.
It was essentially an origin story for the League of Legends characters.
Yes and no. Yes, no.
Yeah.
Kind of,
No,
yeah. It's weird.
Yeah, it was.
So,
In that game, can I just be the manager of a bar?
no. But you can play, I think you can play as that character.
You can, yeah.
I played League when it first dropped.
You can play as Vander. You can play as...
They are going to drop Silco into the game soon.
Oh, yeah.
He was not a character originally in the game, but because of the popularity of him and everything else, it looks like there might have been a leak recently, as of this week, that they might be dropping him into the game.
Nice.
Simona, what are your thoughts?
Yes, please.
Simona's the only one that's like prepared like officially. She's got a whole packet of stuff.
She's only ever the only one that's prepared
True,
officially.
fair enough. Yeah.
Always has a packet.
I have a list of
That's
the
my small
characters.
contribution to this podcast.
I remember their
My
names.
notes.
As I keep talking
Oh,
over
fine.
you. Go ahead. What do you think?
At first I was kind of mixed with my feelings about the show, but as it progressed, I really fell in love with the characters. I really enjoyed Jinx. First of all, I love her design. I love how she still maintains her complexity. I love Silco. I love their relationship because I think it is genuine. I believe that, spoiler, he cared for her. There'll be spoilers.
All these podcasts are spoilers.
That that he truly cared for her, and that I think he truly saw her for who she is. And honestly, the ending is making me so excited for season 2, because after she just sets off that bomb, just as the council, I like to call them the council of douches for the most part, just as they're about to agree where the Undercity, because Silco's whole aim was to have the Undercity become an independent nation. Mm-hmm. He wanted them to have their independence, which I agree with, because they have their own culture, their own system, and I agree they should be independent. And just as the council's about to say, yeah, we agree too, boom, bomb, and that's how it ends.
I hated that so much.
I loved it.
It's not going to end
It
well.
makes you
Loved
want
it.
more, because you're like, what's going to happen next? But then they're like, end of season 1, and I'm like, I hate you for this.
Yeah.
Zero chance that tower is not technologically built to deflect a missile.
That would be such a cop-out if it is. Honestly, everyone in there should be dead next season. Everyone in that tower should be dead.
The little man shouldn't be dead because
with
he's
that,
great.
with the way that bomb exploded,
Heimerdinger can't be dead. He's
he
lived
wasn't
too long.
there.
He wasn't there.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Is that the one with the cane? I love that guy.
No,
He
that's
was
not
I think they
Oh.
called them
Heimdall's a
Yordles.
rabbit or a
Yeah, he's a
dog or-
Yordle.
Yordle.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
he's really
Yeah.
cute.
The
They're
little
so
fluffy
cute. I
puppy.
love
Yeah.
Yordles.
He's so cute.
And I also like the way they treated Jinx's, as Lou mentioned, her PTSD.
Loved that, yeah.
Like
every time it felt like she was.
Yeah, and I love how the voices that she hears, like her conscious, I guess you could call, are the voices of her dead friends.
Milo and Clogger.
Yeah,
if you notice in the background of her little lair, you'll see that she's built dolls of each of them.
Yeah.
Creepy, right?
Yeah, and I didn't notice this at first, but her manicure, because I have a thing about nail polish, so her manicure is like pink and blue. And then I realized, wait a minute, her hair is blue, Vi's hair is pink. It's a tribute to them.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, like
she that's the whole point of her character, is that she can't move on from what Vi did, what she feels Vi did.
Yeah, because I know that Vi was eventually going to go turn back to her and console her 11-year-old sister, like, yes, you tried to help. No, it's not your, well, it kind of was her fault, but at the same time, she tried to help. But like just a little bit.
That one was her fault.
Yeah, but I just feel so bad because, like, she had a hard time proving that, yes, I'm competent enough to do, although, honestly, I understand why Vi let her tag along, but if you highly doubt that your 11 or 12-year-old sister can perform up to the standards you've set, then don't make her tag along, then. So, like, I don't know, like, you sort of relegate her, like, just stay behind because you're useless.
But it's like one
she's
of those
going
things.
to try to prove, though, that I'm not useless. You know, I don't know. I feel like
I think she takes her along because, kind of as a big sister, like the trope, the stereotype of like a big sister is you have to protect your little sister, but that also means protecting her in social circumstances, which means the reason she takes her out with her instead of leaving her at home all the time is because she wants her to feel included. Yeah. But she also wants to protect her, which is also a problem because it's kind of a mixed bag. She knows what she's doing is dangerous and that they could always get beat up, and they probably would have had a better score had, she not taken the bag in the beginning of the whole series. Yeah. But unfortunately, she was there, and they keep calling her a jinx because she's not experienced and she's kind of a tinkerer.
What's it called in Hitchcock movies where he made it famous, like where the bag of money turns out to not really be, is that a MacGuffin?
Oh, like the rabbit's foot. Yeah.
MacGuffin. Yeah, MacGuffin, yeah. So yeah, it was like, that's just a MacGuffin, and then you get the whole story.
I can already tell that I'm going to be annoyed with Jinx as a character.
Honestly, Jinx,
she's kind of amazing.
Was great, she really was.
Well, no, because
she's not in it as much as you think she is, believe it or not, considering she's kind of the poster child of League of Legends. I don't think there's anybody in League of Legends that doesn't know Jinx's face.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm already getting annoyed as you guys are talking about her, and it's like she should have just stayed home instead of trying to prove herself. And I can understand wanting to prove yourself to be better than what people think you are, but at the same time, it's like your actions have repercussions, and if you don't.
Well, to be fair, the only reason they call her Jinx as things go wrong. It's that she's think of it as like, I guess, as like a heist movie in kind of that sense. Is like you've got 3 people who are all the brawn at that point because they know how to fight, they know how to do everything, and then you've got the one hacker kid, and Jinx is that hacker kid who has no fighting experience or anything, and she literally runs away from fights. That's one of the things Milo complains about her, is that she never once throws a punch to protect herself or anybody else.
She's also shorter than half the people there.
Yeah, she's younger than all.
Fighting.
But the one thing she relies on are her bombs, and in the beginning, unfortunately, none of her bombs are working. And Vi just keeps telling her to keep working on them. Keep working on them, like she believes in her ability to do it. And that one day it'll happen. But I think the only thing she might think she's good at is tinkering with these things. And you see when they go to their little hideout, she has a really good shot, first off. Mm-hmm. They have that little shooting range game that she fixes. She's the fixer. Mm-hmm. She fixes every little thing. And she's good at shooting. But when it comes to hand-to-hand combat, she can't do anything.
Her character arc is really, really interesting to watch.
Yeah,
I think.
And she kind of goes into madness, and it's actually fun to watch. I remember saying, we were talking about it before I was done watching the show. Yeah. And I was saying I wish they kind of leaned into her going crazy a little bit more, and they do. Yeah. So I just spoke a little too soon. She really is developed very nicely.
Yeah, now, so you think it's just kind of petty, Vi ends up walking away from her after the death of, basically their father. Yeah. And, calls her a jinx finally. after defending her to like all the friends who think that she's just a bad luck charm, and then, you know, she screams her name out in the rain. It's in the rain because rain is sad. And Vi doesn't come back.
Now, is this going to be what Cowboy Bebop did to us, in the sense that we all want another season, but we're not going to get it? Or is
No.
there going to be a second season?
Oh, they have plans for a second season. They've been working on it already. Netflix has already renewed it.
And this was like critically
Acclaimed.
acclaimed.
Which Cowboy Bebop.
Cowboy Bebop wasn't.
I mean, but
This got
Glow was
the problem
critically
was-
acclaimed, and Glow didn't get their 4th season. Like,
But Glow got 3 seasons.
Touche.
And League of Legends has got more money to throw. Because, as I said, they've got 3 bands. They're coming out with another one. They've got a game that they can just not stop making money off of. You got people who want to do this for a living.
Good.
And
All right,
they're doing fine.
Did you guys what did you think about the sequence when Jinx fights, is it? Oh, her friend, her childhood friend.
Echo? Is that the guy's name?
It's Echo?
Is Echo the one that has the board?
Echo's the shorty, the short kid from the beginning
Yeah.
who sells them all the stuff.
Okay. Didn't you just love that sequence? When I first watched it, I was iffy. Then watching it again, I was like, okay, this is amazing. The way it's animated, the way when they see each other as their younger selves, you know, and sort of like they're planning their battle strategy. And then when they finally go out at they finally see each other as the adults or whatever. It was just such a good scene. And yeah, what I loved in general about this was the development of the cultures. They're very distinct. Like, you can get that Piltover is like it's very distinct culture from the Lanes, which I really liked. It's really developed.
Everywhere
like,
had their own culture.
Yeah. And honestly, I loved how like they didn't really skimp on world building and development in this series. Like, you get that these 2 places have evolved separately, so to speak. They have their own cultures, their own system, their own way of doing things. It was really good. I love complex worlds like that, where you know the creators put time and effort
6
into
years?
building it up. Yeah.
And I was like, fingers crossed, saying, please don't kill this kid. Please don't kill this kid. Please somehow let them both survive this battle.
I will say, you know, talking about the fight scenes, I really actually thought all the fight scenes were really good after like the 1st or 2nd episode. The 1st or 2nd episode, I think I also mentioned that they were doing so much, like every punch was like slow motion, and I was like, if they do this for 9 episodes, I'm gonna go crazy. But then it seemed like they just dropped that technique, and I loved the one fight with Vi and Silco's right-hand woman.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
think it's in episode 9.
Mhm.
That I thought was like great.
I love the one on the with Vi when she was on the bridge and she was taking out like everyone.
Yeah.
I think it was like episode 5 or 6 maybe. Yeah, it was well like choreographed. It was just well framed. It was
She had her Thanos gloves on.
with Thanos.
Savika.
That's what sold it.
That was her name, Savika.
Yeah, Savika.
Yeah, and I just all the while I'm just thinking, please don't kill all these characters. I want to see them in season 2. I think the ultimate moment though is the one you're talking about with Jinx and Echo on the bridge.
Yeah, because like, you know, they were such a big part of each other's lives, and then they sort of went their separate ways. And the sad thing about Jinx too, what makes her a tragic character, is that everyone has essentially given up on her. Like, you know, Vi eventually, she's trying, I think she's really trying, but I think Vi doesn't realize she's not Powder anymore.
That's the point, is that she no longer
yeah,
is the same little girl that she knew.
She can't sort of go past that, and I think that's what the problem is that Jinx basically wants to be accepted. And yes, I know that Jinx murders people. I'm not saying, you know, accept her murdering ways. But I think if Vi would have said to Jinx, you know, I accept that what you've done is wrong, but I still accept what you've become, but we can sort of go on together. I'm here for you no matter what. Because Jinx wanted to know that Vi wouldn't abandon her again. And I don't know how secure Vi was in that promise, like, no, I'll never leave you. I don't know how much she was, to be perfectly honest. So Silco telling her, you know, that she'll never fully accept you, I don't think he was lying to her. I don't know if Vi
everybody
would have ever
had
accepted
this.
her.
Everybody had this whole thing with Jinx or Powder, where Vi wanted to protect Powder,
Yeah.
not Jinx. And Silco kind of taking her in. I think initially he kind of saw her as more of a tool in the beginning
Yeah.
of the whole thing. I think he definitely thought of her as being somebody that he could like use. but that use became love in that sense. So then he wanted to protect her because I think he knew her as she was as Jinx at that point, and he knew how much it tormented her. And I think I don't know, there's a part of me that thinks that in a manipulative way, he might have put it in her head in her most vulnerable states as a child. That, your sister doesn't care about you. You're right to think these things, but I'll accept you.
That's very manipulative.
It is manipulative, but I think it's kind of weird because at the end of the whole thing, he learns to love her instead of using her as a tool, but that kind of damage is already done.
Yeah.
And I think, but he accepts that about her, is that she's constantly upset and she's constantly distraught. And I think he tries his best, like he's basically the person that holds her back from a lot of things. He tells her, don't do that. Don't do that. Stop doing that. And she's like, okay.
Yeah.
And so he gave her a home. And
I was thrown for a loop when
tattoos.
she shows up in episode 4 and kills that red-haired girl, and I'm like, oh my god, that's the end of the older sister? I was totally convinced it was the same exact person. I said, I have no idea where the story's going. Maybe it's just about Jinx, and we're seeing how she outgrew her past. Why did they get rid of her sister that easily? And then found out I was just an idiot, and it's not the same person.
Who knew she'd become schizophrenic?
I gotta tell you though, I don't know that Silco went into it trying to manipulate her. At least I didn't get that vibe while watching it. I thought, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, maybe I was reading too much into it. I feel like Silco struggled with the idea of actually killing Vander. Like it wasn't something he wanted to do.
No.
So when he found Powder, it was almost like he knew Vander cared about her so much.
He could put the blame on her.
Take her in to take care of her.
Yeah.
And I think he legitimately cared. I think he cared about her from the beginning, and any kind of manipulation just kind of happened because of who he is and his beliefs. But I don't think his beliefs or his, we'll say manipulation for lack of a better word, I don't think it was nefarious. I think he brought her up under his beliefs, but I think he cared about her. Like he said it right after she shot him. He goes, I never would have given you up.
Yeah.
Like,
and that beautiful moment where he's at the Vander statue, talking to Vander, and you realize that this is way more complex than. Yeah, and he's just saying he's not where he's daughters are going to be the ruin of all of us or whatever, because he's not going to turn her in, and that was. You're right. It was very much a very real, loving relationship.
Yeah, and I don't think he would have also turned in Jinx, because I think Jinx was one of the few people within his inner circle who actually cared about him.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else, which kind of makes sense, because when you have the bully on the playground, other bullies congregate towards the strongest one, and they're there basically for as long as you prove to be the biggest one in the playground. As soon as you get knocked down a peg, they're not with you anymore. I think Jinx was one of the few, or maybe the only one that actually cared about him genuinely and was there because she wanted to be there.
Yeah, she could have left at any time.
Yeah, she had no real, like, if she didn't care about him or if she was just in it for her, there were like I was thinking about that cool Asian character who I found out who he was voiced by, and I got so excited.
Who, is he the gang?
The lighter guy?
Was that Marcus?
No, it's Finn.
Finn.
Oh yeah, he's voiced by Miyavi.
Yeah.
Who's a really popular Japanese singer.
Yeah, I got too excited. But when he goes to Silco's second in command, the one with the prosthetic arm, I thought she was actually going to betray Silco.
She had several instances where it felt like that. Yeah.
It almost looked like she was on the verge. Svetka, right?
Savika, yeah.
Savika.
Yeah.
Svetka.
But that sounds more awesome. We'll go with that.
I like Jinx and Savika's little like hatred toward each other. That always got me, like when their first instances that you see them in the same room together, she just calls her like a fat or like an old woman or something like that. She just constantly bashes her and she's just like, oh. It's like almost like two older sisters like quarreling with each other, which is kind of cute in my opinion. I'm like, oh, they hate each other.
And they'll literally kill each other at some point probably.
Yeah.
Did you notice the I don't know, were there a lot of like visual references to other video games and movies in this series? I swear when we showed up to the big upper city, I think it was like episode 3 or 4, it was a direct shot-for-shot reference to this game called Final Fantasy IX, where they show up to Lindblum for the first time, and it was like the airships going towards the main tower with the circular clock-looking thing on the tower. And there was another funeral scene that was definitely like shot-for-shot lifted from Batman versus Superman, with like the way the caskets were shot and the rifles went off. And I know that's a traditional like military funeral thing, but those are the two I noticed. I didn't know if there were any others that I didn't notice.
I don't know if they intentionally did. They might have. They haven't talked about it. I've read a couple interviews, but I haven't seen anything referencing it.
I mean, I will say, I mean, you know better than all of us that, I mean, directors don't do anything unintentionally.
It's true.
So, I mean...
Unless Riot owns them.
Yeah. I mean, it might not be, maybe it wasn't references to those things in particular, but I'm sure, if anything, I mean, it was inspirations drawn from other things and, you know, shout-outs to things. I mean, Christopher Nolan does that in everything. I mean, he does shout-outs to everything. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I could see it. I didn't notice anything particular, but...
I don't know if you guys noticed or if you... I don't know if you would know, but like the trafficking of the drug that the mad scientist, I don't remember his name.
Oh, I can't think of his name. I don't remember his name.
Oh, he's working with Silka.
Yeah.
The purple stuff.
The guy who lives underground. And
yeah,
it was this
shimmer.
Giant pet thing.
Yeah. It was really like
that baby.
Unethical what he was doing. Anyway.
He was just trying to preserve it.
Yeah. But
his baby.
It reminds me of the opium wars between the British and China, and the smuggling of like opium into China and having the Chinese poor mostly and some of the rich get addicted to opium. It kind of like reminded me of that. I don't know if you guys would agree with that or not.
I'd agree. I feel like the drug story they told is something that has been told like several times. And it's got to have an origin somewhere, or at least a basis, and it might have come from that. Yeah. I definitely feel that. Yeah. I would agree with you. I don't know any different, but I agree with you. I like learning about the opium trade. It's kind of interesting. I'm not going to lie. I think I got inspired by that from watching, what was that movie? It was the Johnny Depp from Hell. I'm not gonna lie. That's what started my interest.
Because you got inspired to do what?
Research. Not opium. No.
Say, that's what I thought she was saying.
I always thought it seemed like an interesting thing because it was like they always showed it as like these guys just sitting there in these really lavish dens with pillows, and I'm like, yo, I want to just lay there all day.
Amanda was pro opium after that.
Go to a hookah bar.
I've been to a couple, but it's not that great. You just sit at a booth. He was laying down on like a bed, and it looked like a fun time.
But it's just like because opium kind of has the same effect as the shimmer that, you know, it's not necessarily going to disfigure you, but it's going to make you want more and more and more until you finally it's just kind of like waste away because that's all you want to do. So I don't know.
It's the power it gives you. It makes you feel powerful. It gives you something. Right. It gives you strength and stuff like that. And I think who was the person towards it was the man in the first scene where he was basically making a deal with the trader with Savika. Not Savika, with two of the guys in the bar, and he comes over and saves him. And it was sad to see that he had succumbed to the shimmer. Yeah. I was like, oh, so that's what I think Ben was saying is like, I agree, is like every character like came back. It wasn't a throwaway. He wasn't a throwaway. He betrayed them in the end, but he was a great plot device.
Nobody was wasted. Not a single character. All. That's not easy to do.
And since we've talked all this time about Jinx, why don't we go on the other side of the spectrum? And go up. There was Vi. There's also Caitlin Kierman.
Did anyone else have a problem with her uniform?
No.
Well,
I had a problem with a lot of the clothing, and we can get into that if you want.
It was definitely this is definitely made by a lot of guys, is what I think.
Because the reason, listen, I'm not arguing if you want to be all girly while on the job, more power to you. I was talking about in terms of practicality, considering.
I think that's mainly her costume in the game too.
Yeah, but they changed Jinx, and rightfully so, because she was bikini clad.
Yeah,
not really. She had pants.
In the video game, she just wears a bikini.
She just wears a bikini. Like, a lot of fans were upset, like they lost their minds over that change from the underage girl in the bikini to the underage girl.
I felt like an old person being like, she needs more clothes. She's a teenager.
Yeah, her
This is
skin in the
inappropriate.
game is literally just a bodice with a skirt.
That's
her in the video game.
Vi?
No, that's Caitlyn,
Oh, okay.
the guard,
Oh,
the sharpshooter.
Caitlyn. Oh, I meant
Vi?
Jinx.
Oh no.
Oh, Jinx in the show.
Yeah,
where she
but
was-
in the video game, her outfit is just basically a bikini.
With fishnet stockings.
It's
And
this
I'm
one.
like, no.
It's basically just she has shorts on. She has
little
shorts.
little Lara Croft Tomb Raider-y
Yeah.
from back in the day.
And let's
She
be
both thinks
honest. Even for a character that's supposed to be 16, there was an awful lot of side boob going on.
Yep.
She barely had any boob.
And I couldn't quite tell if her relationship with what's his name was a romantic one or not, because she was like on his lap, like putting her mouth onto his neck, and I'm like, that's a weird parental relationship.
Maybe
Oh.
it wasn't a parental relationship.
Oh man, I
Did you
hope
think
not.
about that?
I
No,
like
like
the Silco
I
thing with her.
don't. No, I don't think
That would make
Silco
me
ever
like it
crossed
much
that
less.
line.
Speed Vi looked
no.
really cool in the game.
No, I
She
never
had, like,
honestly got
full
that feeling from
body
the two
thing.
of
Vi was
them.
cool.
I don't remember the whole neck nuzzling thing now that you mentioned it, but I didn't get that
Watch it
feeling.
again.
Perfect opportunity to go watch it again.
You're gonna go like what I did, and he was like,
Go back for the
oh.
neck nuzzle.
Yeah. No, I agree. I don't think you're old. I think you're a responsible adult that says, wow, you know, kids, yeah, we're old. We're old. Kids are going to watch this.
But
What
you
are they
know,
gonna...
to be perfectly honest, not
Everybody
that
likes League of Legends.
Shit.
It's for everybody.
you know, but honestly though, not to be whatever, but when you look at what a lot of girls, because guys' clothing, let's be honest, it's not intended to reveal anything. You know, it's not. Guys' clothing isn't made that way. With women's clothing, it is intended to emphasize form,
To
Actually-
you.
with some exceptions.
Have you seen
There's guys'
Hanzo in
pants
Overwatch?
now that are shaped to
That
outline the bulge.
I stand corrected. So now
The
guys are
ladies
starting
want
to.
little fan service too.
Yep.
We're starting to okay, fine. Good, you guys deserve it now. No, so but I was saying like if you look at what a lot of teens wear, like go to TikTok, go to Instagram.
Yeah.
Some of these people you don't even realize they're like one girl. I thought she was at least 17, 18. She was 13 years old, and I was like, okay.
You ever seen that TLC show? The girl who has I think she has a height, but she's like 23.
Did you say she has a height?
I don't know how to explain it.
She's tall?
No, she's like really, really short. She has a condition. I don't know how to say that's appropriate.
I think I have used people within the community say little person. If I'm
Yeah,
not, I think
she's-
they have said that in the community. So
If
I
that
think
is the
it's-
correct term,
think
if it's
it's
not, I
okay.
apologize. But yeah, she's a little person, but she's like 23, but she looks like she's like 14. And there was an episode recently where she got a tattoo, and the guy looked at her and he was like, do you have an adult? Have you had tattoos before? And she's like, oh yeah, and she like starts showing off all her tattoos.
I
I'm
read
like,
this
"No."
article. Yeah, and she was saying how like her dating life
It's
is
really
horrible
hard,
because
yeah.
the only guys that are interested in dating her,
Creepy.
she's already suspicious of. So
Yeah.
it puts her in like a difficult position.
But she wants to live
Oh.
her life as an adult, so she's trying to get her own apartment right
So
now.
the reason why I brought up because
We'll talk about that on one of the episodes.
I didn't mean to go off on a tangent. I was basically like going back to.
In fairness, we went off on the tangent.
I'm
you were very focused.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Basically, there is that over sexualization of underage girls already in our culture,
Yep.
and like you look at Instagram, like there's this one little girl. She's known, and when you read the comments on her photos, you know who's liking these things, and she's so young. But the way she's stylized, she has lipstick, eyeliner, false eyelashes, like her hair is done up in such a way. And I'm thinking about it, her mom is heavily involved in her accounts. She's the one that created it.
That's the problem with family-based accounts.
And I think like you're basically exposing this child to perverts because if you read the comments, they're perverts that are commenting on her photos. So there is this thing already, I think, in our culture where there's a real over-sexualization of young girls. So I kind of understand because when I was looking at her outfit, I was like, oh my God, you know. But I don't know.
And I didn't know what her outfit was in the game. Simona actually pointed it out
Yeah.
afterwards because I went and I was like, her outfit in the show is like crazy. It's like, what is she doing? And then Simona was like, you should see what it
they
looks
just
like in the
added
game.
pirate pants.
And and it all makes sense when you think about the reputation of Riot Games and
Yeah,
all
yeah.
the trouble the male leads in that company have gotten themselves into because of their absolute disgusting toxic behavior, their over-sexualization of their female coworkers.
Oh.
Their-
It's not just them. Blizzard
giant-
had it.
Yeah,
A lot
but
of
Riot
companies
had
are
it,
just
and Riot
constantly
paid out a
going down.
massive amount of money very recently
They got money.
because of this lawsuit, because of how terrible they are as, male leaders in the industry.
Well, a lot of fans were saying, because the reason why I drew my attention, because I was not aware of the game. I didn't know what Jinx looked like. And one person was saying how the film got woke, and I was like, okay, how did they go woke? Like, I'm always interested. I hear woke and I have to look at something. And they were like,
I hate when
look at
people say
her
things are woke.
outfit. She has pants on. They were catering to the woke people out there. I'm like,
Or maybe
what
they
is
were
her original?
promoting new skins to come out in the game.
But I was like, saying, but what's the original outfit look like? I got curious. And then I saw the original outfit. I said, well, considering she's an underage girl, I think they made the right decision to give her more clothes. Lou could have stand for like more clothing, covering her.
I love it when people get outraged about something and they automatically blame the woke culture, cancel culture because of the change, when really you just want her in the original outfit because...
Yeah, that's what it boils down to.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
And
were just...
I
co-opting-
don't mind subtle changes to things as long as it looks good. Like
Yes.
sometimes you see, like there have been games I've played where there's been an outfit that hasn't been so well received on a character. I'm like, whatever. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
cool. I just want the character because they've got cool skill set.
Right.
But then the censorship is very lacking.
Yeah.
It just covers it looks like they just went over with like a Sharpie and they're like, whereas there's the game Genshin Impact right now, which I would say is pretty big right now. They recently put out 4 skins for characters for people who want the option.
Foreskins?
No!
Ben.
The option for skins.
Ben has gotten over the lack of chest in Witcher, so like...
Yeah.
But they gave an option, and some of these outfits look better.
Can I say something to that? I was on a Reddit thread, not writing on it, but reading about it. I'm not the only person upset about Henry Cavill not getting that shirt off. Okay. As you were.
Anyways, they have skins. They have skins for 4 characters right now that they've put out, but they actually redesigned the outfits to look nice. And they fit really nice, and they're aesthetically pleasing. And I'm like, wow, that girl's not wearing fishnets anymore, and I don't have to go through the mountains covered in snow and fishnets.
Yeah.
And it looks almost better than her original design. So I'm
It's
like, I
practical.
don't mind the censorship and having the options for it. I thought that was a pretty clever idea on their part, and they were free. So I was like, woo, free outfits. I'm always a costume person. So it was like, if you make the outfit look good, like Jinx's it was, and I think Vi didn't really need any censorship. She was fine. She wore like a whole bodice thing.
Right.
But it was, and Caitlin's always just kind of just been like, oh, like stereotypical steampunk chick to me. I've never used her. I don't like her. Even in the show, I was just like, get off your high horse. But you do you.
Yeah. And I mean, I wouldn't even call that censorship. That's just updating characters that
Outfits.
that need updating, because quite honestly, it's like if you were to go play that game now and you're like with the culture in which that we're living in, it's like, oh. Yeah.
And it's like co-opting the word woke to make it seem like it's a bad thing, when it's like just taking into consideration what offends oppressed groups.
Yeah.
And taking steps to take that away from the conversation and make it so it's palatable.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have no problem with that. It's like, just because old 50-year-old Uncle Tommy from Yorktown wants things to be the way that they used to be because that's how he grew up comfortable, like,
Yeah.
well, we progress as a culture,
Yeah.
and this is how it goes.
I also think people
Grow
throw
up.
out the word woke and
Yeah.
not really understand
What it means.
because I was reading some articles like when we were doing the Cowboy Bebop
No offense,
episode.
Yorktown, by the way. I love Yorktown.
No offense to any Uncle Tommies either.
Yeah, Uncle Tommy,
Uncle Tommy, you do you.
I love you. If you're watching
You
this,
do you.
grow up.
Get woke.
No, but, like, the word woke, like, I was reading articles when it came to, like, the Cowboy Bebop episode, and people were like, Cowboy Bebop was so woke, but then I was like, I went back and rewatched the thing, and it was like, the things that they're saying, I'm like, that's not, I don't think you think it's as woke as you think it is, and they're like, it's so woke, and I'm like, are you just projecting that onto it? Because there are some things it did, but not as much as you're claiming it.
Well,
I'm like, it's not as woke because the original anime is more woke than what they did in the live action.
Well, I definitely think with people complaining about Jinx's outfit is because I guess they're the purists that want her scantily clad. But like, what I would agree, considering what she's doing, I don't know if prancing around in a bikini would be the most ideal outfit.
I mean, she's crazy, so she just might.
So, but I just thought it was
Check out season 2.
Yeah, so I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. It caught my eye. But
So let's talk about the ending. They have to all be dead, right? I know we already...
no.
No way.
You don't think so?
No
How do you
way.
survive that?
No, I honestly believe. You ever see those movies that are like fake outs where you see the bomb hitting the glass, but what you don't see is that someone like sensed it already and they've already left. So when the thing hits,
They
there's no
definitely
one
were
in the room.
not expecting it, though. I
But
think they had that fault.
the counselor
She
woman
got a little... ding.
a neck tingle or something?
Yeah, she got a tingle. She got her spidey sense. Yeah. But it was definitely too late because by the time Spidey sense kicked in, the bomb was at
But
the window.
I guarantee though there may be. Hopefully some of them did die because some of the counselors I honestly did not like.
What was with the woman with the gears?
She was she was one of the head, she was just part of the council.
No, but
But
what
what's
was with
the-
the gears?
what's
That's
the
just a
function?
fashion statement.
They don't serve a purpose.
Oh,
I don't think
that's less
she's.
exciting.
I don't think she's.
I
in
thought
the
like
game.
maybe she like takes her head off at night or something like that.
She might. I don't know. I didn't go deep into the council members like lore. If they have that, it's probably online. If anything, I'm sure it's just a fashion statement because they live in a steampunkish world. So why not have a cog moving necklace? I thought that was dope though. I was like, I want one.
Yeah, I'll take it. Have one.
She was working it. I was like, girl, don't even need any other jewelry. This is it.
How did you feel about the introduction of what's her name? Mel's grandmother.
It's her mother.
It's her mother. I thought that was her
It's her
grandmother.
mother. It's her mother.
Was I the only one really disturbed by the whole her hiring a prostitute thing? And maybe it's because I'm so used to seeing the reverse and getting disgusted by it that I kind of like, I don't know, something about it was kind of disturbing. Like I said, I'm the prude of the group. So by all means, feel free to say,
Well,
nope, you're wrong.
I haven't seen it, so I really can't have an opinion on
Okay,
it.
there was something
Mel
kind
was
of- I don't know.
was basically kind of like one of the council members, but she was basically the head
Okay.
of the whole
Yeah.
thing. She's very smart. She's very clever. She comes from an
really
area
powerful
where
house.
her mother essentially, where they're all about power.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
very
They're all
like,
about
war,
power, but she
militaristic.
didn't want to be militaristic. She wanted to
Yeah.
be diplomatic.
Yeah.
So when you first meet her mother literally comes in like a boss.
Yeah.
And she's got this pretty little boy next to her, and she's like, "Oh yeah, this is my boy of like the month." And that's it. She wants beautiful people around her, and
Well,
he's
like-
of age, I'm sure. I don't know, but every moment, it's like basically that's her like her
thing.
I'm not trying to say, like, before anyone gets mad that, like, sex work is a bad thing or that if you go to a prostitute and it's legal and it's consenting, it's a bad thing. I was just saying that the character of the mother
it's fine.
bothered me.
It bothered me that she only had one.
Yeah, right? Why
Because
just bring
she's like
one?
this muscled up like war goddess. It's like
Yeah.
Absolute
You're gonna
Okay,
need-
what would be the ideal number?
I think she would need about 3 boy toys.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Okay.
3.
Five. One
You know,
for
especially
two
if you're
for her
going into,
feet,
like-
2 for her hands, and 1 for her back. Massage
Yes, yes.
everywhere.
Okay.
5. And maybe a 6th one to bring the food. I don't know.
Yes.
That's
So
what I
glad
want.
you said
6.
to bring the
You can
food,
never have enough. She's
not
a
something
she's a
else.
queen. She can have as many as she wants.
I can see how one.
She's probably got like 10 at home.
One
She's
would've
like,
been
this
loud.
is my favorite one of the month. He's
Yeah.
coming.
Yeah, she
he gets
brought
the
him on the
cool
trip.
one.
Yeah.
If it was live action, it would have been Angela Bassett playing her because it was so modeled off of like this
I can see it.
supremely fit,
Yeah.
ageless wonder.
I mean, she was really fit.
Yeah.
But it
Yeah.
makes sense.
Well,
She's
you know,
a
she's
warrior.
from a military. Yo, she's working out. She's going to the gym. She don't skip leg day.
Did not skip
like-
leg day.
She does not.
Also, you know, the one, speaking about, you know, one of the things that I
Poor
had
Lewis
kind
is
of an
trying to
issue
keep
with
us on topic.
is is the time jump.
Yes.
Because obviously from that second episode to the third episode, there's a time jump.
A time skip.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think from the
Now,
third to the fourth.
everyone else had some kind of physical growth. You know,
Jace did not.
Jinx did not?
Jinx did.
Jace.
Exactly, that's who I was going to bring
Yo,
up.
he was just hot from day one.
Except the only thing they did with Jace was they gave him a 5 o'clock shadow.
Hell yeah.
I was like, come on, guys, this is lazy.
Well, I mean,
Give him a gray hair or something.
let's say
like
he's
that.
He's stressed out. He's
let's
not
say
stressed
what,
out. as
28 in the beginning, and then he's 38. You do change.
He's in college when he first goes.
So he's 20 to 30.
Something like that. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe there's not
Of
supposed
age.
to be a dramatic.
I look much
Yeah,
different
I do.
at 30 than I did at 20.
I did. Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
I think
I
all
still
of us
look the
probably
same.
did.
I like it dark.
Today we have the light coming in. Haha.
Actually, it's much better lighting. All right.
No, we're gonna see all of you. But Victor, I was gonna actually like bring it to Victor. I love Victor's whole arc. At first, I thought he was just like the mousy assistant, but I loved that Jace and Victor continued their like their actual partnership.
Was
Because
I
usually when
like
it comes to
hoping
the,
they'd
yeah.
get kind of romantically involved? That was just me, right? No, okay, fine. It wasn't
He's
just me.
sick. I'm for it. I'm for any shit.
Okay, fine.
Unless I find something wrong.
Okay.
And I'm like, no.
Good. I feel
But
better.
like I like that they actually. I thought it was gonna go the route of oh he's the one presenting and he's the face, so there's gonna be a rift
Yeah.
between the two. One's actually doing the work and the other one's more of just the face. And the pretty boy, I mean, that's the
pretty
perfect
boy?
face to put on it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, he wears corsets. Come on, works them well.
Clearly, Amanda.
There's a person on TikTok
We're
that
learning about Amanda's preferences.
number one.
There was a
I was gonna
lovemaking
say-
scene with Jace.
Yeah, but he was with another woman.
Fair.
To start.
He was.
It's only
I have
it's only season one.
I have a weird like characters that I'm like, ooh. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna sound really bad, but I like
Goofy.
No. I'm not a furry. Get out of here. But like Silco, I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's just his character in general, but I was just like, he's so kind of evil and mysterious. I don't know what it is.
But that's always the more interesting character. I mean, in real life, you would never want anything to do with someone like maybe someone would. I won't speak for everyone. I'll speak for myself. Someone
Depends on the time period.
Someone kind of cray-cray. I don't know, but I could see what you mean. There is something kind of attractive about the evil characters. They're the
I
more
love the
interesting.
complex people.
Yeah, like Jace was like,
Jace was just
boring.
eye candy. I'm like, I
Jace
get
is
it.
boring.
You're cool. You're trying to experiment with things you shouldn't be.
He
You're
was
a bad
boring.
boy. But
I think
as I
there's
said,
an animated version of Theo James, right? That actor from like the Divergent movies,
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I could see that.
right?
Yeah.
dear God, Divergent. Anyways, I as I said, I liked that Jason Victor actually contained an actual like partnership, and even though they had rifts, they always came back together somehow. It was like very short-lived rifts, if anything. But as soon as he started sleeping with like Mel, Victor kind of was doing his own. He was sleepless nights, and who felt bad for his assistant when she got like
me.
Vaporized.
But I wasn't surprised because I knew whenever you see the sweet girl about to confess her feelings, like, this girl is gonna die. And I felt so bad.
I thought he was just gonna reject her. Like, girl, I got work to do. I'd be like, understandable. Good day. Have a good day, sir.
I felt so bad. I was like, there could have been something there. But
Well, she's just in the ether right now. They can bring her back.
Oh boy.
do you
I don't
really
think
think so?
Vander's
She was
not
like-
dead. Vander's coming back.
You think Vander's coming back?
100%.
Ooh.
You can't be that juiced up on Hulk steroids and then just.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
the other
I
girl
think
was
something's
turned
gonna
to
happen.
dust. The assistant was turned to dust.
Yeah, she's done.
That's a shame.
She's,
Oh yeah, no,
she bit the
went
dust.
poof.
I mean, I saw
How did
Infinity
that go,
War.
Panda?
That's kind of how I feel about the transformations in Twilight. Just poof. Where-
It all goes back to Twilight.
It all goes back to Twilight.
You didn't like that the vampires sparkle and then
I didn't care about that.
Oh, you didn't?
I did
I
not
thought that was
care.
dumb, especially when they added the sound effects.
I only cared about it when the author said she didn't know anything about vampires.
Oh.
And that's what made me angry. I was like, oh, new interpretation. But anyways.
Jeez, we're going way
Well, I
off
mean,
topic.
Ben, this is Jace from the League of Legends game. He got a glow up.
Yeah.
So did
Yeah, I
Echo.
see he got it.
Echo got a massive glow up first off.
Where's Vander from the games?
So that's Echo.
Yeah.
If everyone wants to have a
Okay.
story time with Amanda.
We're really putting Joe to work right now. He's going to
Yeah.
find all the graphics and put them up.
Joe, I give graphics.
Sorry, Joe.
So that's Echo.
Yeah.
He got the glow up. Then there's Jace, who also got a glow up. He got that tinier waist better built.
So does this game play like a Baldur's Gate?
It's
or
a MOBA.
A Diablo or something
It
like that?
plays like Dota.
I never played Dota.
It's a MOBA. It's basically, it's only online.
Oh, it's a battle arena game?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a massive online battle arena.
Yeah.
That's all it is, yep. So, yeah, MOBA.
Cool.
So, Vander, I don't...
My buddy does a Twitch. He has a Twitch stream of it. He plays it like for like 8 hours a day. He gets paid for it.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Oh.
More power to you. I said I get paid to talk about TV shows for an hour a week.
But don't you think
That's how I feel.
longer?
Mhm.
Like, yeah, if this could be my job, we just talked about stuff like that, I would be so happy coming into work every day.
I mean, that's how you get more
If I could
viewers
have like
and
an
more
uncensored...
podcasts, and eventually we bleed into each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why we got to record as much as possible.
So he is
We should
not in
probably
the
kind
game.
of wrap up a little bit though, because it is after 3.
Okay.
Yes. That
And
is
so
true.
Simone's only here till 3. Now 3:04.
Shut up.
Well, next week is
Next week we will be doing a
Oh.
Valentine's
Oh.
Day special.
Alright.
It's gonna
I
be
have
the
a game prepared
Amanda,
for
do you
you
want to
all.
tease
It's
it?
gonna be the PG-13 smutty version of it.
It is not the smutty version.
Okay.
So next week, I hope you guys, just like during the Christmas time, I have created a very fun, festive game. Very similar to the one we played, but instead we're gonna be looking at some romance plots. See if they're
Oh.
real or fake.
I like it.
Because sometimes when you really look hard at those little dime store books, they get a little weird.
It's true.
And I'd like to make an announcement that would probably go at the beginning of this podcast. Joke. Both Gathering the Gamers and Feast of Films are back.
Woo!
February 10th is the first Gamers, and 11th is the return of the film night.
And what are we watching?
Looks like it's going to be In the Heights.
Hey, okay.
Yeah.
Good start.
Good start. A little bit fun, a little bit romantic, a little bit sexy, and a little bit awesome.
I like it.
A little sexy. Just a little bit.
Good Valentine's Day weekend movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just a little bit.
Just a bit.
Well, we have to keep it PG-13, so
Only PG.
only a little bit.
Just
We
leave
really
it.
have to.
Showing an ankle.
I don't think we have to, but
Because honestly, with some of those romance things, like, we could just go to town and we could put a disclaimer, like, 18 plus on the video. Because it would just be so funny.
talking about foreskins, talking
Yeah.
about going to town.
I
What is this,
said
guys?
two separate words.
You guys are forgetting that this is the Mayapack Public Library podcast here.
Look, you wanna do an uncensored one? You know, you missed the conversation before.
We can do an uncensored one, just can't be on premises. I am
All right.
down.
Thank you guys again for joining us for the Caffeinated Librarians podcast. I hope you guys really enjoyed this episode. We want to talk more definitely about stuff like this. If there's anything you're interested in us talking about, maybe getting us to sit down and watch, let us know in the comments below, or let us know here at the library. We're always open to ideas, and don't forget to like and subscribe.
And we promise that someday, because the podcast is called Caffeinated Librarian, something will be about coffee and something will be about books.
I have coffee.
I have soda.
Okay.
Until next time.
Bye.
Until next time.
Bye.